if you don't have joint goals with your partner, you don't have the necessity to be on the same team. You don't have the necessity to learn and grow. You don't have also what this study shows of the fulfillment that comes from meaningful progress towards those goals.
It's not just simply about making sure that you have goals. It's not just simply about the coordination of goals. Conscious couples, business partners, and individuals, welcome to the Conscious Couples podcast, where we share our life, love story, and relationship expertise to help you consistently cultivate the most magnificent relationship possible.
Never again will you feel hopeless and alone in your intimate relationship challenges. We'll help you have the courage to be your authentic self, communicate effectively, and constructively resolve conflict.
Having accumulated thousands of hours coaching, speaking, podcasting, and hosting live events with conscious couples all over the world, Alan and I are here to guide you in all things relationships.
Thank you again for tuning into the one place where it's not about you or me, it's about the we. Conscious couples and individuals, welcome back to the one and only Conscious Couples podcast. We have episode 186, Why You and Your Partner Need Joint Goals. Been saying it for a long time, hoping it lands a little differently on today's episode. Before we jump into this episode, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Next Level Podcast Solutions for producing this podcast, Next Level University, Business Growth University, Podcast Growth University, and we work with 113 podcasters and business owners now. So if you are a podcaster who wants to build a personal brand and needs to generate revenue in your business, we do all the things. The lowest package is $297 a month. The highest is $9,000 a month. And I always joke, I say we might as well be mowing their lawn because the scope of work is so big. But seriously, we have something for everyone. If you are a podcaster, please reach out. My information will be in the show notes. Before we jump into this episode, my love, what is your intention?
My intention is for our Conscious Couples community to finally have it land that it's not just the journey and it's not just the destination, but how important the destination, i.e. goals, matter for gaining most important awarenesses that help us shape our lives and how that directly contributes to their overall life and relationship satisfaction.
All right, so Emilia and I, we are a conscious couple, and we find it fascinating is probably a kind word for it. Yeah. In January of 2024, we did a monthly meetup at Next Level University on setting clear goals for 2024. We do sort of a goal setting exercise pretty much every year. And I did a deep research function, ChatGPT. And I did this again recently. ChatGPT wasn't the original research, but I've done it again recently because I gave a speech last week on Wednesday to a group of 300 plus students that all want to build themselves into champions. And I guess Serena Williams had spoken to this organization. It's called ICL Academy. And ultimately, I was there to help these kids reverse engineer their goals and dreams. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, so these kids are from 10 to 18 years old. And some of them want to be Michael Phelps level successful. How do I unpack my system for them? Because when I was 10, and I had already touched base on Instagram with some of these youngsters, one's an equestrian, tennis players, all kinds of sports. I remember thinking, how am I going to unpack this? But I did research back in January of 2024, and I redid the research with ChatGPT and the deep research function last week. And it blew my mind, and I'm trying to be kind about it, but it's alarming that only 3% of people have clear written goals. Yeah. So out of 100 individuals, only 3 people in the room, picture being in a room with 100 people, only 3 people in the room have clear written goals. And 2 of them are right here. No, I'm being playful. But babe, never in my life have I not had clear written goals.
Same.
Okay. All right. So we are the weirdos. And if you're listening, you're also a weirdo. But if you're out there and you don't have written goals, I don't want to be unkind, but I need to say I'm alarmed. Yeah. And the reason why is because if you want to have a magnificent life, you can't just wander around.
No.
And stumble upon things, right? Stumble upon persons, places, things, and ideas and just hope it works out. You might as well throw an arrow up in the air, hope it lands someplace nice.
A lot of people are doing that and they don't even realize it, because the modeling of goals, I mean, how many times have you sat down with your mom or dad and had an activity where they conducted and said, let's sit down and write our clear goals for the year, the quarter? Like, the models that we have are not doing that. And so, of course, it's going to have us stumbling around and kind of just figuring out how to do this thing called life. When in reality, you look at that stat, how many of those 3 actually achieve their goal? It's an even more alarming stat. So as goal achievers and people who can't fathom what a life would be like without goals, we're so excited to help everyone that's listening to this episode really understand what the gold is underneath the goals.
And Emilia and I actually hope that you listening to this episode is a byproduct of our goals.
Yeah.
So Emilia and I have a goal to help more people, reach more people, bring conscious couples awareness to the world. You hopefully have a goal to become a conscious couple. So whether it's conscious or not, that's why you're here. All right. So in school, did anyone ever come to you and say, hey, today we're going to learn how to set goals?
Nope.
Okay. Same.
I would always have to do that behind the scenes in my journal.
Same. By myself. I was on Bungie.net. I'm 20th in the world in Halo. How do I get to number 1?
As a matter of fact, I remember actually being really young and I think like grabbing my dad's planner at one point and seeing that there was like a little section maybe in the front or in the back that was talking about like, what are your goals for the year? And I was like, oh, it's on paper.
Nice.
I'm not the only one.
Very nice. You should sing opera.
Yeah.
Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. So Emilia and I, again, this is a tough one for us because we've never not had goals, but we're the weirdos. So 3% of people have clear written goals. We have a client that we've been working with for 3 to 4 years, and Relationship Talks coaching, the reason why it's not counseling or therapy is because coaching is about goals, baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Success and goals. Let's go. So we don't just help you get along. We're going to help you achieve your dreams together. Isn't that more exciting than we're going to make sure we don't fight as much?
Right. And by the way, ironically, the research shows that when you actually have goals to achieve together, hence the title of this episode, Why You and Your Partner Need Joint Goals Together, will help you not fight as much.
I know.
Which is ironic.
Unless you don't make progress, which we're going to get into.
So
Emilia has a specific research study that shows the 3 different possibilities that you might be in. Okay.
I'll share that in a minute.
Yep.
Let's talk about the couple.
All right. So Emilia and I, several years ago, we did what's called a 10-year roadmap. And we mapped out the next decade of our life and everything. I'm talking kids, number of kids, what color. I'm joking. But ultimately, we just did a whole roadmap. And I playfully joke, I was asked recently, they're like, well, why aren't you guys married yet? I said, it's all we're intending. And they're like, oh, congratulations. I said, no, we're not engaged yet. We're just intending on it. And are we the only ones who talk about it in advance?
Yeah, it breaks people's brains. Because it's like, what I've learned is that from when you say you're going to do something, especially about marriage, to when you do it, the gap in between is just shame-riddling. It's like,
it's so bad.
Something's wrong with you
I
if
know.
you're not.
No, we've talked about it.
It's almost like telling you, like, we're pregnant before, like, the fetus has actually grown, like, beyond a certain, people just, like, can't handle the...
You know what I've found is that
different.
Apparently a lot of people say things that they don't actually end up doing, so most people don't trust it until it's already done.
Facts.
But if you need to see it to believe it, you're in trouble because you have to believe it long before anyone else does. So it's a whole nother conversation. But Emilia and I sat down and we did this exercise we call the 10-year roadmap. It's called dream mapping.
Lots of fun.
Nice.
For us.
Yes, it is. It is. It's a blasty blast. It actually is.
It is.
All right, so these clients will keep anonymous. We did dream mapping with them, and they came up with all this stuff. And they wanted a horsey farm, and they had careers, all kinds of stuff. And then here we are 3 years later. They are a far more developed, far more aware version of themselves. They're in their late 20s. They bought a home. They got engaged.
About to get married.
Yeah, about to get married. And they're like, so... I think we need to check back in. We don't really think we want the horsey farm anymore.
The maintenance, the yard, this. It's like...
Maybe we don't want the animals that we thought we wanted.
Right. Maybe we don't want goats and chickens. It's just a lot of work.
It's a lot.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Which is funny because Emilia and I, when they first set the dream, we kind of called that. Yeah.
But that's okay. You have to figure that out. Right?
And so that's the first lesson here before I get into this. Number one, you have to set goals in order to gain the awareness. I think when you set a goal, the world becomes your library to learn how to achieve it. So if you don't have a goal, your mind doesn't know. It's almost like when you're going into the woods and let's say you're bird watching and you know you're looking for a cardinal. I don't know. I've never been bird watching. The red cardinal. Yep. Okay. All of a sudden you spot, oh, a squirrel. It's not a cardinal, so let's keep looking.
X.
Yeah, right. Yeah, squirrel.
Big bushy tail. Not cardinal.
So it's intentionality and goals. So the idea here is set a goal, and then the world becomes your library to learn how to achieve it. Mm-hmm. And then as you upgrade your awareness and you become a bigger, better, brighter version of yourself, you realize, you know what, maybe this isn't the right goal. Yeah. And when I was a kid, I wanted to be in esports and I wanted to be top Halo 2 player in the world. And those goals obviously changed as I grew, and they're supposed to, right? So the idea is set a goal, learn, grow, and then obviously the goal has to change. And so goal and process are connected. So what they once wanted, we just went through an exercise. We're going to give it to you high level anonymous. Current location for the next 10 years. They love where they live right now. They didn't know they were gonna. Yeah. So now they're like, we don't want to leave here. Awesome. We want to raise our kids here. Yeah, that's unbelievable. So good news. Horse, no farm. So it turns out I just love horses. I don't actually want all the work of a farm.
I want to comment on that because one of the things that's so amazing about goals and actually having goals instead of just like going around with the flow of what your friends want and what your family wants, right, is it crystallizes that which is extraordinarily important to you. What the 10 out of 10 of importance to you, you won't know unless you have the pressure of goals. Yeah. And a lot of people look at the pressure of goals as like, oh, I don't want to have that. And like, oh my God, you're so stressed out. Or like, maybe you should like set the bar lower. It's like that there's such a problem with that because so many people are not getting what they really value, but haven't had the courage amongst their friends, amongst their family to really say to themselves, what I really value is actually horse riding. I really value having a horse and being able to take care of it, but I don't value taking care of all the landscape. So like those little nuances is what the pressure of having goals and actually working towards them crystallizes. And I find that's where our self-awareness comes up so tremendously, that people who do set goals and work towards them have such cheat codes around what they know about themselves in comparison to people who are just going with the tides.
Yeah, and they know what to do and what not to do.
Yep.
To me, if I didn't have any goals, I would have no idea what to do when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
All right, so can you get this back for me? This is Emilia's Remarkable. All right, so this episode brought to you by, I'm joking. All right, so horse, no farm. Children, they want 2 to 3 ideally. And again, they are keeping it open. It doesn't have to be, I want exactly 4 children. I want all of them to be girls. It can be a range.
11th.
Yeah, exactly. What did you say?
I said on October 11th.
Yes, exactly.
2:45 p.m.
Well, other people think of that too. They say, well, what do you mean? You and Emilia have talked about children. I said, well, we want, as of right now, we're thinking 3. And people think, well, what if you can't have them? Listen, then we would adapt.
Yeah.
We would adapt. And just because you set a goal doesn't mean it has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the duality. You set a goal knowing it might change.
Yeah.
It's your list. Rip it up if you want. I had my first vision board. There's some stuff on there. I went back to it. I was like, done, did it. And then definitely don't want to do that anymore. Definitely don't want to do that anymore. Still working on that. So again, this is your list. Okay. Children, 2 to 3 ideally. They want to switch careers. They want to do potentially real estate stuff, flipping and rentals, larger home. They want a 2,000 square foot home minimum, which is good to raise a family. They want 2 dogs, ? Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 7. We'll see. I'm joking. All right, and then they want to have a travel budget. Okay, listen. The point of this episode is not to talk about this client or to talk about Emilia and I. The point of this episode is to talk about if you don't have joint goals with your partner, you don't have the necessity to be on the same team. You don't have the necessity to learn and grow. You don't have also what this study shows of the fulfillment that comes from meaningful progress towards those goals.
So let's share some of the research that we were doing.
Hi, I'm Derek, and I just wanted to talk about relationship talks with Alan and Emilia. If you're looking to get some help on working with your relationships, you should definitely give them a shot. They can help you identify certain patterns on things that maybe you didn't realize that you've done or that have happened. And if you want to be able to just start really kind of narrowing down the things that you can work on now that'll help you be more efficient for future relationships or even the one that you're in, they're definitely the ones to go see, as clearly they lead an example of what a great relationship should look like. And just in general, they're both incredibly intelligent and smart with just being able to pick out the things that maybe either you missed or that you knew but didn't really quite click yet. So you should definitely give them a shot, because they're very, very helpful and efficient at what they do.
So this was a 2023 study. You can look it up. It is publicly available, but it's a scientific study that was a long-term study. So it was named Flourishing Together, the Longitudinal Effect of Goal Coordination on Goal Progress and Life Satisfaction in Romantic Relationships. Longest title ever, but that's research papers in a nutshell, right? So Rosetta et Philippe et al. And what it did was essentially it was 148 Hungarian couples who were cohabitating, were studied through a year, so longitudinal study, and they were rated and taken, obviously, metrics and everything about their life satisfaction. And they were tracked over two specific metrics. One related to what's called goal coordination, and the other one is goal attainment. So what's the difference, right? You're probably thinking that, okay, well, what's the difference when it comes to goal coordination and goal attainment? Think of process versus progress. Goal coordination is far more about what is the process that you and your partner have to undergo in order to try to make progress in a goal. So when Alan and I, or when this couple sat down, part of the process was relationship talks coaching, talking about ideating, sharing what their goals and their vision was, what they want, right? Sharing what their calendars were so that they could try to make things happen in their life. What was those little nuances that helped in the process of coordinating, having these goals and doing life together.
So what's the difference between coordination and progress in this case?
So the coordination is only specific process oriented. So the emotional...
Is it the strategy that you deploy, or is it strategizing?
It's both. It's both. That's why it's process oriented, because there's three components of that need to be present. And I'm going to mention these and we'll tie it back together in a second. So emotional support, communication, and cooperation. Whatever kind of falls underneath those three categories is considered the process. Now, goal attainment, on the other hand, is simply talking about the actual progress towards the goal. So if you and your partner have the emotional support, you're communicating, you're doing all the logistics and you're collaborating, give and taking to try to make progress towards that goal, but there's no actual attainment of that goal or milestones that you're achieving, your relationship satisfaction is going to go downhill. So like this couple, every 2 weeks they have done RTC with us, and we have always checked in on the pulse of their goals.
Always.
And that progress marker that they've been able to have as a result of you and I sitting down with them and them making sure that they have a system to check in around their emotional support, their collaboration, and their communication, that essentially guaranteed that they're going to have progress. That's why I remember we shared in a past episode, the male in this relationship said, I know that we're going to be great. Like, I have no concern about us making and attaining our goals because we have Alan and Emilia in our corner.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best compliments I think we've ever received, because of the fact that what is happening is this couple invested every 2 weeks showing up, doing the suggested activities so that they could come to these calls knowing that we could hold them accountable in a loving manner. And also make sure that the emotional pulse of their relationship, they're growing together, not apart, not just making progress for progress sake, but also feeling emotionally supported amongst that progress. So the key finding here is what this study showed, which I think is so important for conscious couples, is the fact that it's not just simply about making sure that you have goals. It's not just simply about the coordination of goals, because a lot of couples I'll talk to, go ahead.
There's three subsets here. There's couples who have goals and make progress toward them, and they have the highest life satisfaction and relationship love. Their love is the best.
Yep, love is the best, and their
flourishing,
long-term health, everything.
The second is couples who don't have goals. And the third is couples who do have goals but don't make progress. And one of the key findings that you shared with me was that couples who do have goals but don't make progress are actually worse off than the couples who don't have goals at all. Can you go into that briefly?
Correct, because ultimately it's not just it's not just the coordination that matters. If you and your partner are not making progress, it's like being in a relationship that is staying in a relationship that is toxic.
Okay.
And that's huge, because ultimately you're constantly having to go through the cycle of, we want to go and make these goals
It's
happen.
constant disappointment,
Resentment, contempt. The 4 horsemen show up again and again. Gottman's 4 horsemen.
Okay, what are Gottman's?
Defensiveness, resentment, contentment, and
Not contentment, contempt.
contempt. And the 4th one is escaping me right now.
Defensiveness. Defensiveness? We'd have to look it up.
We'll have to
Do you
look
mind
it
just looking it up real quick?
No, not at all.
Okay, so to summarize all of this, number 1, you got to have goals. You got to set them together. You got to make sure that they're not goals in conflict. And then remember, when you do set goals, there's a huge benefit to it in terms of your relationship if you do make progress and check in. And that's what Relationship Talks coaching is for. But there's actually a huge detriment. Now the stakes are higher. If you don't make progress, you're going to fall out of love much more likely. So John Gottman was a relationship researcher that talked about the bid system and essentially how these 4 horsemen, is what he calls them, are the indicators that a relationship is going to end in divorce or break up. What are they?
So I always forget this last one. Stonewalling.
Yep.
Contempt,
Yep.
criticism, and defensiveness.
All right, can we give those real quick and then
Yep.
we'll get out of here?
Stonewalling, contempt, criticism, and defensiveness. So when you
I meant define them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So stonewalling.
Yep.
High level, it is withdrawing. So silent treatment is great for stonewalling. Like, for example, your partner wants to talk to you and all of a sudden you literally put up a wall and you say, I don't want to talk about this, and you turn away.
And then you never come back to it.
You never come back to it.
Okay.
The second one, contempt. This is essentially treating this partner with no respect and holding grudges. So contempt is like all those bugs or all those problems that you had in your relationship. Instead of talking about them, you sweep them underneath the rug.
Got it.
Criticism is obviously attacking the character of your partner, which we've all had one of those.
Now, this is not, hey, I really want to express vulnerably, I didn't like how you were driving on this lane. That's expressing a need vulnerably. Attacking character is different than that.
Yes.
And I want to make that as clear as possible, because you can't never, like if I say, hey, sweetheart, I just want to make it clear that the dishes weren't done when you said they were going to be or something. That's not criticism. I'm not attacking her. I'm bringing something up vulnerably that frustrates me or bothers me. That's very different than, Emilia, you are blank.
Emilia, you're the worst person, and I can't stand when you struggle to put the dishes in the dishwasher because that tells
Or
me that
you're so lazy.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that is criticism
Yeah.
versus, and that's not me saying that, it's an example. Yeah.
Okay, and then the last one is defensiveness, which is just your partner self-protecting themselves because they sense this quote-unquote attack, and so they're trying to retaliate. So in that dishes scenario, it's like, well, you didn't put the dish away last week. Like, just like unnecessary defensiveness.
Yeah. That wasn't all 4 of them, love. So stonewalling,
Yeah, it was.
contempt,
Yep.
criticism,
Yep.
and then
defensiveness.
and then defensiveness. Okay, that was the 4.
Yep.
All right, so to wrap this in a bow, love, what do you want to make sure our listeners take away?
So I want to make sure that our listeners take away that if they're in a relationship that do not have joint goals together, that is an orange flag. And I say that very
Why do you say
explicitly.
orange?
Orange is
do green, yellow,
turning towards red.
Okay.
It will become a red flag in your relationship. I share that with clients all the time.
Okay.
I know you.
So it's
Anyways.
yellow-headed red?
Yellow-headed red, yeah.
Got it, yep.
And so we need to make a quick, what's called a U-turn, aka check in on this immediately. This is urgent, time-sensitive, incredibly significant in your world, and it's going to impact a lot of things if you don't. Okay. This is not me being fluffy and saying, oh, it'd be nice. No. If you don't have joint goals in your relationship, there are going to be extreme consequences down the line. Not only is the life satisfaction going to go down like significantly, but on top of that, you're going to be literally hating your relationship, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So, number 1, check in on how often are you and your partner actually sharing what your aspirations, what your goals, what your dreams are. If your partner doesn't have any goals, when you ask, hey babe, what are some goals that you have coming up in the next year? That is a big red flag. This tells me that your partner has a lot of things that they have decided to not go into to develop themselves as a person.
Yeah.
And at a person level, if they're not developing themselves per an episode that we recorded a couple episodes ago, there's going to be an unconscious taking from you and from the we in the relationship. So I want every single person to check in. How often or how frequently are we checking on the joint goals that we have as a partner together? Number 2, what are my partner's goals, and do I know what they are? And then number 3 is, are they actually making progress towards those goals? If you and your partner are not making progress towards those, and you're just pretending as though you are, but no progress is being made, this is like staying in a toxic relationship, gaslighting yourself that this is good for you, when in reality, all the science points to it's actually worse to stay in a toxic relationship than it is to leave.
Okay, the thing I'll end on is people say it's about the journey, not the destination. What is the problem with that is the destination you choose in advance dictates the journey. In my early 20s, I drove from Boston to Los Angeles. That's a very different epic adventure than driving 30 minutes south. So you have to set a destination, aka a goal, in order for the GPS to work. And then on that journey, you can pivot, you can adapt, you can climb higher, you can do more. Like these clients who did their 10-year roadmap with us and then learned and grew for the last 3 years and realized we want to get rid of that, up that, change that, and then keep these. That's exactly what progress is. I can't personally, and again, I can't imagine a life where we're not working toward dreams together.
Yeah.
If you want the future to be bright, it's not going to be bright by default. It's going to be bright by design. So if you need help with this, Relationship Talks coaching, the first one is free. We will literally help you and your partner sit down and create a 10-year roadmap. It's actually, I've done this with tons of clients, dozens over the years. It just gives you a bit of a compass of where to aim. Otherwise, you're going to wander around aimlessly, wonder why you're unfulfilled, and then live only for the moment. Yeah. When in reality, meaning usually comes from growth towards meaningful goals.
Facts. And so, if you like this episode, you'll also love the next Relationship Talks event that we have. This is the 5 love languages that no one ever talks about. Join us. It's going to be hosted the 17th of September, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is something we have heard of. John Gottman's work, we referenced that here. Gary Chapman's work, all the 5 love languages, physical touch, quality time. These are the 5 that no one ever talks about, that we, in behind the scenes, working with couples and community members all over the world, 5 love languages that no one talks about. We're going to share those little tidbits with you.
Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate you. As always, it's not about you or me. It's about the we. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. We love connecting with the Conscious Couples community, so please check the show notes to connect with us and say hello on social media.
If you and your partner resonated with this episode, please leave us a 5-star review at the link in the show notes and share this with someone you love. Until next time, it's not about you or me, it's about the we. We'll talk to you next time.